Hello and welcome to Flow Getter. Today you have Lisa Westby and Erica Tafoya, your chronic hosts for this show. We're always here. We're chronically here in a good way. The way the sun is chronically. Okay. Anyway,
Sun's a three-letter word. Okay, sorry.
It is. Today's topic is three-letter words. Now, why three-letter words, you ask? Well, our focus today is on the awesome lightness of being, and how, even though life wants you, maybe your ego life wants you to complicate things and get in a more complicated, maybe even darker space, today we're going to talk about the lightness and the simplicity of life. Erica, you had a lot of thoughts to start us off before the show started. What was the favorite three-letter word? Is joy? Yes.
Joy. So we were talking about kind of this idea how sometimes in life we tend to overcomplicate things, and then it gets difficult and challenging, and it slows us down, and it feels very heavy and dense. But when you think about some of the joy, the word joy, which is three letters, fun is three letters, yes, like you said, is three letters, the sun, three letters, some of these words that are simple and literally have just one vowel just because they have to, because it's English.
Because English. Yeah, we are speaking in English at this time. So we apologize on behalf of the other 100 millions of other languages, but throughout the galaxy.
But even yes, in a lot of languages, it's a very simple, small word,
Yeah.
So it's so easy to say yes. And so what's great about that is it reminds us that joy and fun and, lightness should be simple. They should be a simple thing to do, and they should just be easily accessible at all times. And I know, I'm human. We're all human. We've all had our challenges and ups and downs, but, kind of when we remember that, getting back to that easy world, and easy should be, or fun should be easy. Joy should be easy. So sometimes even just that thought can pull us out of the density of the heaviness of the challenges and ick and whatever else you might be experiencing in any moment. Just remembering that the lightness and the joy and the fun and just your thought could get you one step further out of that.
I think that's great, because you're talking about taking a second to just be even just the slight head turn towards even just these little words could be enough to start pulling you the other way. Because I think law of attraction, resistance, habit, all these other things, and I've been there, sister, can pull you into the it's so complicated. And one of our topics that I was thinking about today too was when people get in the I can't because, and they just go in a circle, and they've no answer can be yes, no answer can be joy. It's all, and believe me, I have been an expert at doing that before. However, one of my superpowers is I have a very strong mind, so I can get myself out of that stuff when I see that it's happening. Although some people, I think, really struggle with that. So how, when you notice this in listening to other people and stuff, what do you notice about people who are good at kind of steering things back to that? Is there, tell me more about those people, because I know you said you've observed this in other, situations that you've seen.
I think that's a great question. And the thing I notice is people who tend to be in that more peaceful state, they tend to just be very simple. So this idea of being present in the moment, it seems just the idea seems very simple, and almost, it's interesting because it almost feels boring. It's I think a lot of times we create this drama because it's more exciting. And there is a good use, there definitely great use for drama and excitement, that kind of excitement. There's also excitement and joy and fun. But I think when you're kind of
let's see, bliss, super boring, right? No.
Right, right. But it's sort of like remembering that, right, like in the center of it is this sort of almost an absence of extreme emotion. And that's where peace lives. And that's
Oh
where calm
God.
lives.
Yep.
And that's where simplicity lives. And just, it's almost like cleaning out everything, letting go of thoughts, letting go of emotions, letting go of whatever it is, and just kind of grounding yourself. I see it's almost like an Eckhart Tolle sort of, when you see him, you don't even have to be in his presence, but you just see him, or you hear the words, or you hear the tone of his voice, and you almost feel more relaxed and at peace. You can tell that this man probably spends a good part of his every day in
Yeah.
this kind of state, or even like the Dalai Lama. There's just a sort of calm and peace and simplicity.
Yeah.
And so it's cool. It's like remembering, just let go of the complication. Nothing is
Yeah.
worth that kind of creating that complication. Life is not complicated. It's actually quite easy. And here's the other thing. A lot of times a lot of us are kind of trained to look outside of ourselves for this kind of thing.
There you go.
And so that creates the complication. You create distance between yourself and what you see as an end goal in the, whatever it is. Like if you're looking for the fun or the joy or the peace or the whatever it is that you're looking for, when you think that it's outside of yourself, you're immediately creating a path of complication right here.
Oh my God.
Like,
It's so brilliant because you just said you're creating distance with your mind.
yes, exactly. And when you remember everything is accessible right here, it's right here. Just like that, meditation is really good for a lot of people for that reason, because meditation is a way of letting go of those distance creators. It's like going inside and allowing yourself to feel peaceful, and allowing yourself to relax, and allowing yourself to just let go of everything,
Yeah. Because it seems like it visits you like I'm tense because X, or this isn't going my way because Y. And life will always give you those things. But it's sort of like, well, it's happening to me, and we don't realize that we're the one holding it. And that, like, well, it's like, yeah, if you hang on to the rope, the horse will drag you, like behind it. Like if you let go of the rope, it'll stop moving. But it appears that when a person's in the situation, that they're like, well, I'm trapped in said situation, therefore I can't change my energy. And nothing could be further from the truth. It just doesn't, we're not conditioned to think like, wait, like literally everything I do is my own internal choice. But it's like, well, how can I be happy if this thing is going wrong, and this is going wrong, and this is going, like sometimes it's a lot of things going wrong. And my short answer, and I want to hear what you think, my shorter answer is, well, at the end of the day, it's mental fortitude. You have to decide, and then you have to keep rethinking or refeeling the positive emotion, even though the situation doesn't really want you to do that. Oh, it's, total chaos. And it is effort to a certain extent, because you're stepping outside of your conditioning. But is there more?
That's exactly.
Tell me what I'm missing.
It's perfect. No, you're absolutely right. It's almost like it's like backing out of this habit that we've created, and then creating a new habit, which does take time and does take effort. And it's like staying conscious is really, in those moments where you're feeling that overwhelmment. Okay, stop, remember, and get back to that place. Just, and then you get pulled back in. Stop, remember, and get back. And over time, if you keep doing that, just like what you said, repeat
600 times.
Yeah.
And the 700th time, it sticks.
It sticks. It's exactly. It will get easier. The hardest part is always the beginning. It's like training for a marathon, or changing your diet, or anything in the physical world that is a pretty decent change. You're going to have to give yourself some time. And the other thing that I thought of was remembering that who we are at the core is, okay, so my belief is at the core, we are unconditional love. That's really at the core who we are. And the only reason things feel uncomfortable is because our minds are taking us away from that.
Yeah.
So remembering that when you do feel the discomfort, or you do feel the crazy, the anxiety, the I can't, whatever it is that you're feeling, or that, we feel sometimes. It's just remembering that it's because our soul is calling us back to the unconditional love place, and it feels far away from that.
Yes.
So when you remember that, wait, I am love, and that's all that matters. That is literally nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Because when you remember that and you embody that, I mean, we are walking unconditional love bodies, but it's just our minds like to take us away from that. And again, there's good purpose in that, because it provides some learning and wisdom and things like that. But
we came here to sort of go unconscious a little bit, right? Like, how fun would it be if everyone was like, I just was like, well, it's fun.
It's boring.
I mean, it'd be a little boring, because it'd be like, well, you're amazing. No, you're amazing. No, you're amazing. No, you're amazing. It's like, okay. And the thrill is sort of, it's like watching Netflix. It's like your soul is what you are in Netflix, and you're watching yourself be the characters and have fun in the drama. Sorry to interrupt.
That's exactly it. You know what it is? It's like watching your child or any loved one that you really love truly unconditionally, because we all hopefully have at least one person in our life that we have unconditional pure love for, and don't even need to forgive, because we know that, you know what I mean? We just know that. So when you remember, maybe even think of that person and remember that, oh, right, okay, so you could do whatever and I still love you no matter what.
Right.
It's just so yeah.
And if you don't have that person, maybe it's an animal, it's your dog.
Totally.
Okay, so most people, I would say, have, whether it's their job, if it's a relationship, I have some advice about that. Jobs typically, I'll say situations, right? Like, they're living with the wrong people, they're working at the wrong place, they're friends with the wrong people, something like that. Mm-hmm. My theory with relationships is you can always leave. Like, don't ever put up with anything. Like, if there's one thing I know is like, no.
Yes.
No. That said, when you enter the work environment, we all put on the mask, a little bit. We're like, oh, I'm at work, and I'm not going to totally tell you what I think, because we sort of sign up to kind of put another veil over ourselves when we do that, because professional environments, or not even, but wherever you are, you can't tell your manager or your subordinates or your peers exactly what's on your mind. It doesn't really work sometimes. Try it, let us know how it goes. But and I think what that does is it contributes to that people going unconscious. But what I hear you saying is, you can get in touch with the remembering that you're unconditional love. You don't need to have the judgments so that you need to yell at people. You don't need to have the stress because you're like, well, I get fired, or, like, you can be in that state. And, if you get pushed out, if you're being in truly unconditional love, you'll go somewhere good. So just let yourself get pooped out at that place. But, so I think that's really the key, is you can truly be authentic in yourself when you connect to that unconditional love inside yourself.
Yeah, that's a good topic, because I know a lot of people do suffer in their professional lives, or even in relationships, or in certain facets of their life. They choose to wear a different costume, let's say, or be a different actor, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Don't feel like they can really be themselves. And one thing that I have learned, there are the more, like exactly what you said, the more in touch with the natural unconditional love that is you, the different perspective you end up having. You realize you don't have to try to change your external environment. It happens for you, first of all. And it doesn't have to be painful. Sometimes it is, but I think that the unconditional love is almost like, if there is an opposite, and not to say, I believe in a universe of ands, not of ors or buts or whatever, or, so I realize that fear and unconditional love, which to me are kind of opposites, but they do coexist.
Yeah.
And so, but the more that you get into this unconditional love space, the less fear there is. So you don't even think about, oh, I gotta put on this mask for this person. It's not even a thought that occurs to you.
Yeah.
You just show up as you. And it's not like you have to try to muzzle who you are, because the true living example doesn't usually preach or doesn't feel like they have to express a certain theory or a certain, unless specifically asked, unless called to do that.
Right.
The true living example of unconditional love just is. Then there is no need to pretend. There is no need to shut your mouth in certain situations. Yeah. It's more of I'm just going to be here and be with you, and wherever you need to go is fine. And I'm going to hold a loving space because that's who I am.
Right.
And that's it. There's really nothing more. So
it allows you to be true, be authentic and true to yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And then you end up retracting situations that just allows for more of that. So there's really nothing to fear when you get more and more into that loving space.
Yeah. So I love this. Okay. So let's say half of our audience is really struggling. Like, okay, I love this idea. Great. But they're in a really far space from that. Like, like there's people that like, okay, I like my job. It's fine. And there's people like, like, so how do we step by step get them from, that noise to a new noise that is like, okay, like I can be, like, it's not there. You don't necessarily have to be blissed out, but you can be. And we've all been able to do this. I'd say that middle space is some people, okay, I'm able to do that off and on kind of stuff. But for people that are really in it, how do we help the spectrum, right? The people that are a little closer, do that more. You already know this. Do it more. Turn it up. Stay focused. Don't let it pull you under. The people that are like, what are you talking? I love what you're saying, but oh my God, I've never, like, this seems really hard. And like, love the concept. What are you talking about, lady? So day one, it's Monday. The 50 emails come at the person. They're already holding this momentum of already attracting crap at their job. Now they're like, I'm going to do this unconditional love, truth, authentic thingy. And, like you were saying, the baby steps, but like, what's the, you're good with tactics. What's your tactic as the person is working their crazy day to start this path and stay on it and not just give up and,
Yeah. Good question. Great question. I would say, first of all, let go of the idea that it's difficult, that the change is difficult. So just kind of, first of all, just kind of let that go and allow. So you're kind of almost relaxing into whatever, if there's 50 or 100 emails in front of you, breath, relax. It's okay. It's okay. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't think, oh, I attracted this, I manifested this, it's all my fault. No. Just relax is the first thing you do.
Got it.
And I think the second thing you do is you allow yourself to feel, even if it's 5 seconds of peace and calm, even if you only have 5 seconds in your day to close your eyes and breathe, do that. 5 seconds, because 5 seconds today is better than 0 seconds the day before.
Right.
Because what'll happen is if you continue to stay conscious and aware, and this is where the trust thing comes in. If you continue to just chip away at it, baby steps, like you said, you'll find that 100 or 50 emails will turn into 49 or 99 emails. And then it'll be 48 and 97 emails. And then it'll be, do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It'll be less and less as you continue to. And you'll find, oh my gosh, I had 5 seconds yesterday, but today I have 10 seconds. And love that you created this slightly tiny bit of extra time. Love that. And also be appreciative of whatever comes flying in your face, because that's good too. It's there for a reason, and it's there to remind you to whatever it is, however you want to look at it, whether it's building more empathy for people who are in the same positions you are, realizing that the contrast is bringing you more gratitude for what you're walking out of, however you want to look at it in a positive way, because there are 5 billion ways to look at it in a positive way. Yeah. So to me, it's like, okay, Step one is just relax and let go of any idea that this is a huge, massive, impossible challenge mess. Because it's not. It's not. Nothing is. Not like the worst thing that you could possibly think of is not. It's okay.
Yeah.
And then that in and of itself will just allow you to just
relax
open yourself up to, okay, so here's my 5 seconds. And now I'm going to spend, the rest of the day, I'm just going to be crazy and get all the work done and fine. That's okay. Because then the next day is going to happen. You're going to find a little more. So that's what I would say. A little more. So don't look at it as this massive marathon you have to run and finish, because that's where we get in trouble.
Yes.
It's when we think I have to go from being, this crazy corporate anxious ball of whatever to Eckhart Tolle in one day.
Yeah. No. Like, good luck with that.
Nobody's going to do that. Nobody's done that. Nobody's going to do that. And you don't need to do that either. Don't even think about it. Time doesn't exist. No. It's this moment.
Yeah. Well, what I love that you said too about, a lot of times I like to relate anything, I'll say psychological / spiritual, is if life is like someone's throwing weights at you and you don't get the muscles unless you lift the weights. But you can't lift all the weights in the gym simultaneously. Like, you don't even think about that. You're not like, oh my God, I have to lift all these right now. You're like, okay, I start at this end of the thing and you go around the things or whatever. And so, and the contrast of life and all the challenges are there, one, I think, to develop, they're there to say, okay, can you think of this? How can you look at this positively? How can you, and of course we forget, but the fact is that if you do it more than 0 times per day, you're getting better. Just like 1 squat is better than 0 squats. Like, you will retain and then build the muscle if you just do it. Okay, 2 squats. Okay, 3, pretty soon you're sculpted hotness inside and out, which is not everyone's goal, but spiritually, yes, this is the goal. I think if anyone's listening to the Flow Getter podcast, the whole idea is, at least our idea here, is that it's really about getting back to the joy and getting back to the fun. And you don't have to, I'm really, really sure about this. A lot of times, like, we have to go back in the past and heal all the things. Certainly, if you have a really messed up trauma or something that's just eating at you, absolutely, don't hesitate. For those of us who are just, it's kind of more of a blur of yuck and you feel stuck or whatever, it's really, to me, focusing on keep crafting your energy, keep shaping your energy. If people haven't seen our previous podcast, we talked a lot about, if you think of yourself as a bell and you were bonging on the bell, there's a certain sound that comes off it. And as you change the shape of the bell, you get a different sound. And that sound makes everything around it resonate with it. Because imagine it's a very strong sound. If you hit a really loud thing, things vibrate at that level around it. And that's attractive and also broadcasting. So it kind of has that 2-way experience. So when we're focusing on everything, like, okay, I've got a situation, whether it's work or relationship like this, it is literally the heart, just like you're going to sculpt yourself. It's literally the work of focusing your mind and bringing yourself back to everything. I have a really good hack that I want to share with everybody. Okay, this has been the one that's been working for me. It's really, really good. Okay, are you ready? Okay. So, all right. So what I do is and you don't even have to say what it is. So it's very general, but it works, because a lot of times being really specific makes you swirl in your head and you're like, I can't say, I don't know what I want. But in my head, I know that there's, say, things in this sector, health, financial, wealth, career, you have these sort of different buckets. And now I want everyone to close their eyes. And I want you to sit there and go, okay, what would it be like if you were guaranteed that everything you want is going to happen in this lifetime? And I personally feel this feeling of like, deep satisfaction and deep relief and deep excitement. But that's what gets, I'm like, it's guaranteed. There's nothing, there's no way it's not going to happen. It's 100% guaranteed. And if you can hang on to that for just a few seconds of just, it's guaranteed. You will get that thing, those things, to those experiences more than anything, I think is what people want. The feeling of love, feeling of, satisfaction, the feeling of health, the feeling of vitality, the feeling of peace, all these things that we're after. And I just, you have those days where you're just like, how am I ever going to get this? This is insane. I can't deal with this or whatever. And you go, it's guaranteed. You're going to have that career you want. You're going to, like, just for a second, just believe with every fiber of your being. And if you can hold that for 5 seconds, you can't believe the energy that comes off you. It's crazy. And I've been doing this for like the last week and a half. And I'm like, when I do it, it's like, I can't believe the energy shift. I'm like, whoa, look at that. And do you know how long it would take me with like trying to fix myself or a whole bunch of things before I would shift that? And sort of back to the guarantee, it is guaranteed. It's a universe. It's giving, it wants all of this for you. I like to just think, okay, it's going to, it's doing this all the time. I'm the one resisting it constantly. And I know this to be true because of my brain. And it's like, but no, that can't be because, but how, that's not going to happen overnight. And I'm like, just let all of that go and just be like, everything you want is guaranteed to happen this lifetime. Just sit. And if I knew it was guaranteed, why would I care about this thing that's bothering me? Like, it's guaranteed. So if that's kind of my tidbit for the day, is the word guaranteed. Like, wow, really?
I love that.
Yeah. So
I love that so much because it said in a different way that to me that speaks to the trust idea.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like when you and trusting in the guarantee immediately just lets go of all fear, because the only thing we're ever really afraid of is that things aren't going to happen or that they will happen, or that it's like when you even if you're not really super clear on what you want specifically, you don't have to be. You don't, because like you said, some of the more general words like love or security or whether it's financial security or whatever, and you don't have to know how these things are going to happen. Just know that they'll happen, and not just, it's almost like that one step further, like trusting, but then knowing. When you really know it and you believe it to the core of who you are, there's nothing to fear, and you just sail through life like, cool.
Yeah. And you're good at this. So for our listeners,
but
yeah, I'm really good at this, except for in a couple sectors of my life. And I'm like, okay, I'm really bad at that. But the more you practice, the better you get. And pretty soon you're like, oh my God, I didn't have this much knowingness, because I think a lot of people are like, well, I don't have the faith. I don't have the belief. How do you just do it? And the answer is you decide. And then you just keep deciding. And pretty soon you believe your own self because your mind will believe whatever you tell it. Quotes, right? That's not my quote, but I've heard that, and I 100%, I believe that belief. I believe that your mind will believe whatever you tell it. So you just keep deciding to have the faith. You just go, okay, I'm just going to make that choice today. There's literally no outside force that is making these decisions.
And exactly. The other thing I'll say is there's a layer of, so the belief in the idea of immortality and forever and just there's no end to anything, and just kind of it's infinity and whatever the words you want to use that kind of speak to this idea that which to me, because I believe it so to my core, like death is not death. Death is just a transition. It's just an ending of something and the beginning of something else. And so for me, because I believe that we are in this never beginning, never ending sort of journey that's super exciting and super fun, and we just get to collect more and more experience and fun and joy and whatever it is, even
little
in
crazy seasoning on there. Yeah.
crazy. Even in the moments that feel dark and painful, I don't feel a feeling of what's the word? I can't think of the word, but of despair. Because
hopelessness. Yeah, you don't have that.
Yeah, like there's not that feeling doesn't resonate with me, and the reason is because I know that whatever it is that I'm going through, even if it feels super dark and painful, I know I'm going to come out of it, whether it's this lifetime or not. I don't even care. I don't think of it in terms of like this
Yeah,
life.
you don't have end things with lifetimes. You're pretty
It's
fluid.
just like, yeah, it's like,
yeah.
I mean, if anything, the idea of the transitioning, and I don't think about, I have a belief that we can transition in these bodies. I do believe that. I don't believe we have to actually let go of these bodies if we don't want. It's, so it's really up to you, however you want to live your life and do you do that. And so I think that lends itself to this idea of guarantee and trust and
and if you didn't floss and didn't take care of your health, you might want to let go of your body. It's fine. You'd be like, yeah, I didn't take care of it. So, whoops.
Or I mean, even
or you can bounce back. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the whole idea of reversing stuff, like you can do that.
It does happen.
Yeah, you can do that. You can reverse age. You can reverse decay. You don't have to. I mean, even though probably for the majority of us, we haven't seen that, like in this, but if you believe in, I mean, literally everything, which I do, why can't that be true also?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. And I think also part of, you can't be stressed out about not aging, or you can't be stressed about not decaying because you're going against that. In some cases, it's also good to just let it happen because you're going with nature too. Things are born, they grow, they die, and you're like, okay.
And there's a certain
I don't love it, like sometimes I'm like, I don't like that change or whatever, but maybe the beauty is that we're part of nature, and we can take that appreciation of like, oh, like, we're cycling through something and getting to have the experience of what it's like to be a seed and to a tree, to an old tree, to a dead tree, like, because even dead trees, there's still a little life left in them. They don't 100% go, I mean, some do really bad, but anyway, that was a tangent.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think too, you just made me think of this idea of perspective. It's like, well, I don't have to see aging as a bad thing. I can actually see it as the most beautiful thing ever. I could decide to see an 80-year-old me as even more attractive than the 30-year-old version of me. I can decide that. Yeah. So, it's like, it is.
Octo hotness. Yeah. Because you're 80. Yeah.
Like I'm sure that that is a thing that exists somewhere. I know in this culture, it's not so prevalent, but why couldn't it be in your own little world? Why not? So it's just, it's fun. Yeah. It's fun to play with these ideas and open your mind to the possibilities. Yeah.
Well, what I love hearing about this is that you're so, you're not drinking any goddamn Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not like, oh, culture, I've heard it called like the culture scape or whatever, but it's essentially, you're not going to let the culture dictate how you feel about yourself. Yeah. And we all do time to time. I'm like, oh my God, does my hair look okay? Certainly I do that. And
I mean, I do that too.
We do it, but let's just say there's a space of freedom sometimes that we're all looking for, where you get distance from your ego mind, you get distance from the crazy, and you, like you said, sometimes putting the distance is not good, but it's essentially getting your true self. If you can peel yourself away from that stuff, you can connect with your true self and make your own decisions, and your mind is your own, and your freedom, that's where the freedom and liberation is. So that's really what we're talking about. And it's, it might sound like we're saying all these tactical things, but really it's about, I get to decide how I think. But when the culture is deciding how you think, there's how many cultures on this planet, and then how many in this galaxy, and how many in the galaxies. Like, everybody's got a goddamn opinion. You guys should live this way. I'm like, no, this is my choice.
Yeah.
And I get to decide what I think about these things and take those like little lens things off and go, okay, am I going to look in the mirror and go, you're getting old? And it's like, or you're getting old. Yay.
Yeah. Yeah. You're gaining more wisdom. That's how I look at
well,
it.
and just it's a privilege to be.
It is a privilege.
Old.
Yeah.
If you want to be here, I guess if you don't want to be here, get mad, get angry, get a disease and go. Fine, bye. But if you want to be stoked about living here on Earth, join the Flow Getter crew. And but that's really what it's about is like, how can you be stoked while you're here? Because it's a limited time offer, like your specific, self. It's there's a window. I mean, we don't believe in time because there really isn't any, but there's this feeling that there's time. And so while you have the feeling of time, take advantage of being here, while you can.
Yeah.
And
do your best to, totally. I was going to say one more thing. Just to bring it back to where we started with the 3-letter words.
Oh, yes.
Another word that came to me was can.
Yes. Can.
Yes.
Oh,
can. Can's another 3-letter word. That's beautiful. And it just removes, it opens up this idea of everything is possible. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. I can do this. Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. Is your first word, here's the question, is the person's first word can't or can?
Right.
And I know I've been on the can't side. I had a window there. Ooh, so in the can't zone. And when you can.
We've all been there.
Yeah. I mean, human
and
all.
Yeah.
Human and all.
Yes,
trying stuff out. So I love this 3-letter. I know we sort of started with a 3-letter word, kind of landed back on the 3-letter word thing. Yes is the other one I want to say, is because the universe, and we've said this a billion times, but everything you're focusing on, the universe says yes. Because I had an experience where I was really busy and stressed out. And then I manifested going more busy and stressed out. And I was like, well, why did that happen? And I'm like, well, what have you been saying and focusing on for the last few months? I'm so busy. I'm just so excited. I'm like, you, magic woman, have created more. So the yes is really powerful. And I consider myself a freaking expert in these things. And I still find like, oh, look at you did it. And you're like, yeah. And I know even Esther Hicks in Eckhart, we're all human. We're still doing the things. But I feel like it's that separation of being able to help other people sort of see, because maybe our superpower is that we can separate ourselves a little more. I think just enough to get that perspective to kind of pull up and kind of go, okay, I can see what's going on here. And my goal is to help other people learn to do that themselves.
Absolutely.
So anyway, this has been super fun. We're going to end with our fun word. And thank you, Erica, for all your deep insights today. I know we got some good tweets and quotes out of this one, so we'll be putting those on the socials. And listeners, thanks again. We want to know, we talk about a lot of different things today. But as always, we want comments and questions, and go to our website, do all the things, because we want to stay more connected to you. Because for us, being around like-minded people and people that are thinking and want their own evolution of fun, joy, and can, and yes, and all that, we want to be with you. We want to hear from you. So thank you for being with us today. So with that, we'll see you later on the next show. Mwah. Bye.